Andy Johnson, Minnesota State University. We are looking at emergent literacy versus reading readiness. These are two basic approaches to early literacy instruction. The emergent level, we generally think of children ages 3, 4, and 5. We'll look at each one. The skills-based approach first. Reading readiness is a skills-based approach. The idea is that children must be made ready to read. We have to manipulate it to get them ready. This includes direct instruction with a prescribed set of reading sub-skills. There's a scope and sequence, sub-skills related to alphabetics, phonics, and phonemic awareness. We teach them these directly, direct instruction. The focus is on time, on task structure, routine, standardization, drill, and practice. Lessons tend to be very scripted. For remediation, if children are having problem, we give them more of something, more drill and practice. And one of the problems is it is an inauthentic form of literacy, and it tends to be boring and abstract. At the emergent level, phonics first programs, these skills-based programs, research has shown that they have no effect, no demonstrated effect on students' oral reading, comprehension, word recognition, spelling, higher literacy, and later literacy achievement. What happens if you provide skills-based instruction? You get an increase in scores on skills that you instructed, as we would expect. But this approach does not reflect what we know about the human brain and how the human brain learns. It also does not focus on language, social, emotional, cognitive, or physical development. Language would be oral language. A child-centered approach takes the emergent approach. This idea is that literacy emerges as a series of naturally developing skills and behaviors. And names are Piaget, Vygotsky, Erickson, and Marcia. These are all developmental theorists. This theory emerged based on the observations of real children learning within an actual learning setting. So theorists looked at children learning literacy, emergent literacy at these levels, and based on this theory was development. Emergent literacy approaches have been shown to outperform skills-based approaches in measures of reading comprehension, writing, and metacognitive knowledge. That means they understand what they're reading and they're aware of when they comprehend and not. And that's the site right there. Noam Chomsky says that all humans are naturally hardwired to learn the language. We have a language acquisition device in our brain. So we learned oral language with little or no instruction, no drill and practice. We aren't asked to master meaningless sounds before we speak, and we're not asked to talk about things of which we are not interested in, and we aren't expected to experience failure. These same conditions should be applied to learning literacy because the same language acquisition device involved in learning oral language is involved in learning written language. In a child-centered approach, we create the conditions whereby children can learn to read and write. We still believe in direct instruction, explicit instruction, but it's done in a developmentally appropriate way. Some of the essentials for literacy instruction in preschool and kindergartens, you can see them right here. Explicit modeling and scaffolding of lessons. They see adults reading and writing. Guided practice, independent practice, structure and routines. Yes, differentiation of instruction. We don't expect everyone to be the same. Just like children learn oral language differently and at different rates, children learn written language as well. Teaching skills in a child-centered approach. Yes, direct explicit instruction is used to teach alphabetics, phonics, phonemic awareness. It is used, but in a developmentally appropriate way. And this child-centered approach realizes that you can't teach literacy effective in isolation. That is an interrelationship between linguistics, oral language, cognitive development, emotional, social, and a knowledge base. It's kind of like systems theory, that they all interact, and the sum of the parts is greater than the individual parts put together. You want to avoid a push-down curriculum. This is where first grade instruction is pushed down into kindergarten or preschool with the assumption that if you start it earlier, they're going to be further along. If you give them more of something, they're going to be better. And it's not developmentally appropriate instruction. What is appropriate for children at an older age is not always appropriate for young children. Children learn through play, through experimentation. Kindergarten should not have a watered-down first grade curriculum. Earlier does not mean better. More does not mean better. You have to always ask what is developmentally appropriate. It must fit the child's social, emotional, cognitive, and physical developmental levels. As well, humans learn best from whole to part to whole, to be immersed in the whole in authentic reading and writing situations, and then you can teach instructions in that context. Basic overview, emergent literacy.